anything like this, because I see it as like hurtful and racist and so forth. She does that to scare off any, say, evil demons or the quote-unquote dark side. In her mind, it protects her to do that. That's what I was told. I would not know that. I wouldn't even think that. I would actually feel like I was hurting someone by doing that. Unless she figures no one knows that that message means anything to anyone else, but she needs to protect herself in some way. If I were king, everyone on the street would have provisions and I'd be handing out keys to everyone so they could have their own place and just stay inside, and, you know, hopefully life can get better from there. Being outside is not a place for humans 24/7. You know, it's, you know, obviously to be active and stuff like that, but clearly you need shelter to be, one, in a positive, good mood, to feel safe and secure. These are basics. Not everybody can secure basics, because if you look at how many people exist in the world, there really are not enough jobs, particularly jobs that pay a living wage. Capiche? So anyway, that's just a little tidbit, a little example. I know it's hard to explain and for people to follow along, because I had to be brought into a knowledge base, into an awareness echelon, if you will, and it took quite a while. Someone had to get me used to the idea that there are actually people who can actually, and there are doctors on staff at Jefferson, and they can communicate a certain way. They can maybe even help people on staff who don't know what to do. So they will whisper. It's like dog whispering, but we'll say people whispering. It's like, you know, maybe a newbie on residency is like stuck and they feel like a fool, or they feel dumb because they don't know what to do. So hire a person who's kind would whisper what to do. Oh, right, that's what I'm supposed to do. I forgot. And that's how they get people out of jams really quick. It could be done. Spare someone some over-the-top humility, if you will, or embarrassment. So I'm just putting it out there as food for thought, because if you feel extra motivated, this is another example. If you feel extra motivated, like, say you, I guess I'll go with running. I don't love that example because people work hard and, you know, train and all this stuff. But say you haven't run, say you never ran, or it's been years since you went out for a run, and all of a sudden the ambition, the motivation is back. And you're like, you know what, I totally want to go out for a run. Someone could be whispering in your ear, saying, tonight's the night, we're going to start up again, that's it. You're going to start running again, and you'll be running for X amount of time because we need you to run. We need you to be running out in your neighborhoods. So it could be that bad. It could be a usury situation. Although you were looking for motivation, and in a way you feel like you're winning. You see what I mean? You wanted the motivation, someone decided to give it to you, and on top of that they could be using you for intel. But anyway, that's it. Where were they all those years when you, maybe they switched up people, they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be noticed. You're in a different city, town, and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna keep encouraging her to, I'm not gonna silently encourage her to run because I'm not sure who's in this new town in South Florida. And I don't wanna be seen by the higher up echelons as helping someone too much. Serpico dreams. They don't want to be seen. So sometimes people lose their motivation. And I don't love saying that because people do deserve credit for working hard. Technically there are people who are slaved out there. They might make a lot of money on a football team and get a Super Bowl ring or a World Series ring. It can actually be done. But, to their credit, people actually do put in the hours. They put in the time, they put in the hard work, they reap rewards. But if they didn't have a compelling force behind them, the motivation, then they would be sitting there wondering what they're supposed to do every day. Or they would wind up being on a desk job, you know, being active. So anyway, that's just food for thought. I was just so moved by that video at Santa Monica close up, and I desperately wanted someone to comfort that guy. I really did. He needed to feel validated. And there are a million people who have no idea why they're successful, and they're only successful because someone is whispering in their ear. That's it. That's about it. So yeah, you gotta hope for the good puppet masters, if you will, as opposed to the bad ones. There are bad ones. You wind up in a serious accident. You're like, somebody helped you make the wrong decision by not looking over your shoulder before trying to cross your bike across the street. You get hit by a van, you know. That's bad puppeting. And you're like, I always look, what happened? Somebody jumped in. Boom, you're in the ER, you know, getting stitches, stuff like that. So sunset, so that's the east side. That's the west side. 7:20 is the official sunset today, so it's still early, but it's the city and the sun kind of falls behind buildings and it starts to get darker on the streets. So please like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you won't be freaked out by some of the ideas and opinions and theories I put forth, even though I already know what's going on. But anyway, how do I get out of here every day? Because there are days when people are normally like, I don't feel like, you know, I feel like it. That's normal. Do you think I'm super ambitious? Because, you know, chances of me getting paid on YouTube are like 10 years away at best at this rate. So what is it? Keeps me, what's the incentive?
Yeah, this green fucking chain on the flag.
I'm told what to do these days, and I'm aware of it. I don't love it. I didn't know this in the past. I struggled a lot in the past. There weren't many people helping me sort of move it along in life. I inched along. I did a lot of work, but I inch by inch by inch. So anyway, here we go. Lego education. Hard Rock Cafe. I like to talk here because they have music playing all the time and I don't want to get a copyright. So, which way should we go? We'll go this way. Alright, so go this way, and anyway,